All right, YouTube. In this video, I'm going to show you how I build get a cigar box guitar neck. So I'm going to show you how I take this and this and turn it into this. Could be used as a neck or a heel. And this little three-piece neck or heel. Put them together so that you can make yourself a neck for one of these. So, all right, here we go. First thing, right off the bat, you can get your wood from wherever, right? The big box stores or whatever. I typically don't, because most of the time it's just poplar and oak that they sell, and that's really not what I use for my cigar box guitars. You can go to your local wood supplier and get some stuff, or you can get it on the internet. I usually order my stuff off the internet. The main thing is that you want, for a neck, you need your you need about 36 inches. For 25-inch scale, typical, I say typical, cigar box guitar, you want about 36 inches in length. This board right here is 6 inches wide. I'll mill it down. And then for some reason, when I get this walnut, this is about as wide as I can find it. It's 2 inches wide, and I mill it down for the neck. Oh, and then thickness, you know, when you, this is about 3/4 of an inch thick, right? So if you're looking for it, like in dimensions, it's probably like, you'd probably call it 1 inch, but it's 3/4 of an inch thick. Now, yep, you're right, there's scraps that get left over off the sides, but I take those pieces and I glue them together, you know, and then I use these to make the wings for my cigar box guitars. So I try not to let anything go to waste. I got bins down here that are just full of blocks and wood and stuff that I cut off from the necks, and I use that to brace up the inside of the guitars or something like that. So really the main purpose of this video is just to show you how I build my necks. I'm just going to build a neck. So we'll get it to this piece, and then I'm going to cut the scarf joint. After we mill, I'm going to show you how I mill these boards down, and then I'm going to glue them together, and then we're going to cut the scarf joint for a typical cigar box guitar. Okay, one other thing before I set up my saw and start cutting. So typical width of a cigar box guitar is 1.5 inches, or just barely over, like maybe a 1/16 over that. When I cut these, when I set this up, I end up with 1 5/8 inches in width, and I do that on purpose so I can cut it down at the end. Now you can leave it that width if you want. There are no rules. If you're cutting your own fretboards, milling your own fretboards down, as long as you make that width match, it doesn't matter. Now typically what I do is I'll come down just over, like I said, just over 1.5 inches. I'm gonna measure from this side because it's easier for you to see, probably the ruler, but it's just over 1.5 inches. You can see this is a piece of walnut I've already milled down, and it's just, you know, maybe like a 1/16 over 1.5 inches. So that's what this will eventually get down to. Now, for milling it up though, what I'll do is the middle piece, I'll cut that at 1/4 of an inch, and these two ends, let me get this set up here. These two maple pieces, I'll cut those at 5/8. And I say 5/8-ish because I'll cheat it a little bit. I'll bring it just a little bit wider. That's how I end up, you know, that's how I end up with 1 5/8 inches. And that just gives me some room to cut this down. So before I start doing the scarf joints, or even after I do the scarf joint, I'll bring it down to its final width. All right, so here we go. after you're done cutting these, you'll have all these boards spread out. So I put a line and drew some stuff on here just so I can keep the grain matched up. Here's my pieces of walnut. I got a 4-foot level, and so I am going to take these pieces and glue them down, and I'm going to use this level as a straight edge. As you can see, like right here, obviously this has popped up a little bit. So to get everything as straight as possible, I will clamp them together, but I also clamp them down to the level. All right, after let this sit for a couple of hours, then time to pull the clamps and do it all over again. Whew. See what we got here. I mean, it's maybe not necessary to do this using the straight edge, but I think it betters your chance of making sure everything is lined up like it's supposed to be. And man, it sure does make that thing straight. So there you go. Now it's time to cut the scarf joint in this thing. Okay, this is just a simple scarf joint jig that I mount to my chop saw, and it goes in up against a fence like this. This angle is what the board rides on, and this is that 15-degree angle. I just kind of went on YouTube and watched a bunch of videos to figure out the jig for me. I know there's ones you can put on your table saw, which I probably ought to do because I use my table saw a lot, and then I won't have to drag this thing out. But this is what I do. So now I'm just going to take off just this portion of it, slide it down real quick, figure out what side I want to cut. So now you see I got a scarf joint on this, or a scarf cut on this side and this side. All right, so now I'm gonna cut, measure from here to here, 8.5 inches. Cut this off. That'll make the joint. I'll show you that here in just a second. Scarf joint this, or scarf cut this side, scarf cut this side. I cut this piece off, flip it around, boom. That makes your scarf joint. Gives you plenty of gluing area. Now there's two ways you can do these scarf joints. You can glue it like this, which is the way I do it. You're gonna have a line here on the side, depending on you know, the grain of the wood and various other things. You may or may not notice that line right away. You know, once you're all done with it. Sometimes you might. But what I like about this is that's the only line. And then if you're putting a fretboard over the top, which I do, once you glue that fretboard down, then you got glue in here plus this, you know, holding that joint. My light just went out. Holding that joint together. So it's pretty sturdy. The other way you can do it is reverse. You can put it like this. Now you're still going to get a line, but it's not on the neck anymore. It'll be up on the sides, and if you put wings on it, it would hide this line. So then you'd only have to worry about the line on the face of the scarf joint. And I've done that before, and then actually laminated the top so that you couldn't see the lines. Once you put a piece of, sometimes I take that thin material out of the cigar box. If it's got the logo on it, I will laminate the top of that over this. Yeah, and then you put wings on the side. There are no lines. Really awesome. So however you decide to do it, that's it. So now it's time to get this glued up, and we'll have the beginnings of a neck. If you've ever glued up a scarf joint or tried to glue two pieces together like that, you'll notice that when you're trying to clamp it down, it wants to slide either left or right, or you know, you're putting pressure this way and it's at an angle already, so or it wants to push down. I've seen people do put little nails under the back, like nail a nail in there just a little bit, cut it, and then, you know, hammer it down on the other side so that you can, so it doesn't move while you clamp it. I tried that. I just didn't have very good luck at it. So what I do is I will drill a couple. I've got this clamped down, and I will drill a couple of holes in here, and I'll put these little oak dowels in there so that when I clamp it down, it can't slide apart. There you go. All right, so once the joint's glued up, I'll cut these two little pieces off and then put this on the sander. Make sure this is nice and flat. I'll even take a straight edge. I've got a couple of long rulers or straight edges, and I'll put them on there and make sure there's no gap in the middle. You know, you just want to get these things as straight as possible. You know, even a little dip or something, you want to try to get that out. I mean, this thing is pretty straight, but putting a straight edge on there really makes a difference. Sand this up, and then it'll be time to, you know, marry it to a box, find a good heel for it, figure out what you're going to do, and go from there. All right, so that's going to be it for this one. I just wanted to go through. Somebody had, like I said in the beginning, somebody had asked how I do these necks in one of my videos. So I figured I would just post something kind of showing my process. I know there's probably a dozen other ways to do this, but that's my process. So, all right, thanks for checking this out. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out.